Hi, everybody. My name is Sarah, and this is Pearls of Wisdom and Food with Sarah. Keto, carnivore, carnivish, whatever food plan you're on. Our bodies are just so mysterious, aren't they? I was watching somebody's video, and she's giving up Weight Watchers, but not really doing anything else. But for years, because of doing Weight Watchers, she only knows points. She doesn't know calories or macros or any of those things that as we started to do low carb, high fat, keto, carnivish, and carnivore, we kind of got used to and we could kind of tell, even though she was using those apps like Diet App, Lose It, Carb Manager, and the one that I use, Chronometer. And the reason I use Chronometer is because if I really want to get into the weeds, which I don't, I just want a varied food plan that leaves me satiated for my one meal a day to the following day having my one meal a day. And that to me means enough fat and protein that I'm carried along and I don't have to get into the weeds with it. So it was interesting listening to somebody that is choosing into the weeds and coming up with what they come up with. But we are mysterious, and especially as the perimenopause and postmenopause women, we go through so much. And one of the most astounding things that she said, just shut your ears, Jim and Mike and any other men that listen, is that we just get used to our bodies. And even though it might be doing something that's not normal according to a gyno, it would be normal for us. And I was plagued with that kind of stuff all the way through, beginning at 9 years old. So there I am in the fourth grade, and people are giving me weird looks. Kids are giving me weird looks because nobody even knows what that is. But my body did mature early and got fat early and all of that other accompanying stuff, along with my food, sugar, and carb addiction. And so, we go through our little trials and tribulations, and maybe we stop seeing that one particular doctor and another doctor gets a hold of our labs or our hormones or where we are on the spectrum. And, they raise their eyebrows, they say something out loud, and we begin to see that, oh, all is not well. And for a lot of us females, around 40, if we weren't if we didn't have a real cause about why we weighed more than we did, being overeaters, etc., and we started to put on the weight, it could be the hormones, and it could be the hormones of the meat that we're eating, the dairy that we're having, and all that other stuff. Who has the time? I mean, there's citizen scientists, and then there's going back to school for umpteen years just to get to the place where you understand your body. So it is, for me, it's always been a lifelong challenge. I am totally delighted with what I weigh today, what I get to eat today, and what the scale says today, and how my pants fit today. And so when we get to that place where there is contentment and there is satisfaction and there is satiation, why rock it? Why rock that boat? Why not just enjoy life? For some of us, untangling all those feeling fat, being fat, etc., that's all we've done. We have had like maybe three parts of our brain. The back part is like the need to do list that we have to do that day, because most of us women have a need to do list because we do so many different jobs, positions, roles. Then there's the middle one where it's like your pants don't fit today. You're constipated today, or you're still getting your period sporadically. All that stuff that we go through, from, I don't know, maybe it is 40 on. I don't know for you, but I know for me. And then there's the changing things up to continue to have the same, because sometimes the same means we have to give up calories or we have to switch food plans, or we have to take medication, and we have to do stuff just to maintain that nice level that we had for so many years without paying as much attention. It was only the feeling fat and looking fat that we worried about, that visible panty line, VPL, in our pants. That was always a sign that, like, oh, until the women started going commando, and then they didn't have visible panty lines anymore. Remember all of that? How much we did to just either deceive ourselves or to deceive others in our clothes that everything was going well. And all those different gears operating in our head to get us through, like getting to that party, feeling fat, will your period come, feeling remorseful, the self-loathing, am I going to bring my own food and look weird again? Am I just going to blow it and say, I'll just enjoy this one cookout, party, festive occasion and get back on my plan tomorrow? Some people can do it. There are some people that can do it, that can step out of that constant vigilance, go someplace, enjoy the abundance and the bounty and the different foods, and then the next day, not 3 days later, the next day, dive right back into what plan they were doing that brought them the results and the satisfaction and the satiation that they had. Is it possible for all of us? I don't know. Can you get to a place where you can manage food, carb, sugar addiction and enjoy something every now and then? Can you? I'm working on that, allowing little things like the berries, horrors, and even, excuse me, the sporadic potato, and, just monitoring my results the next day. And basically, monitoring the results means, how are your cravings? How is your withdrawal? What's going on in your head? How's your guilt? How's your self-loathing? How's your remorse? Or you did it, it's done, it's a wrap, let's move on. And that having that, say, sweet potato with that, say, pork chop and, say, asparagus worked. And that the next day you weren't at McDonald's asking, is it too early to order French fries, right? So that's how we learn. And I think that the carb, sugar, food addiction can be managed even if you're a card-carrying abstainer. They've got that abstainer moderation deal going. And if you're an abstainer, one bite is too much, and 1,000 is never, one bite is never enough, and 1,000, whatever, that saying. And that could be true. But it also might not be. There could be a certain food item that doesn't trigger the binge, that doesn't trigger the cravings, that doesn't trigger the triggers, and you start seeing where you can fit it in. It's tricky. Nobody said it wasn't. But maybe one food item does not set up a craving. You can have it, enjoy it, and move on, versus the other one that sets up the more, I have to, don't even want, have to have more. And only you can tell these things. And it's so incredibly personal that, I don't get into my details here because of my journey and not wanting to trigger anybody else if they're in that same place. But I am trying out foods that were verboten before, that were like never before. I haven't had a keto carnivore meats a pizza in over a month now. And that was an every Saturday deal. I had enough. Isn't that great? I had enough. And so I may have it again, but not today and not next Saturday, for now. And that works. And it was something that I had to have through all of the ups and downs. And then in this particular segment of my journey, I'm having whole foods that I never allowed before in the last 5 or 6 years of doing the low carb, high fat, the keto under 20, the keto under 10, never net carbs, always total, then onto the carnivish, and then onto the carnivore. And now I'm in a place where I'm experimenting. So my plate sometimes looks like, what is it that you're doing, girly? Well, what I'm doing is seeing what works. See Freddie's little tail. Hi, Freddie. And so he just wants to eat. And so it's a journey. It's mine. It's personal. It may not be yours. You know, if you have to follow to the strictness and disciplined parts that I always recommend, you know, and it's not working for you to allow, you know, a Whole Foods that before you didn't have, like raspberries, okay? So, you know, I don't like to talk about the item because it might work for me, but it might not work for you. But if you are in this place, Freddie caught a piece of paper. Anyway, if you were in this place, you understand what I'm saying. And I still believe in being strict and disciplined and planning what that food item is for the day. It's planned. Now, for me, that would mean it's in the chronometer, okay? And there's a 20 total carb cap for the day. Like the other day when I had the spaghetti squash, my carbs for that day were 20 total carbs, even Steven. So that meant there were no berries, there was no cottage cheese, there was just the spaghetti squash with the Rouse sauce that was 75 grams marinara sauce. And that's it. I hit 20 and that's no further up. That's it. So that's the sort of stuff that I'm talking about. But it was rare, it's appropriate, it's planned, and it works. And I think that my body is responding to each new food item that I introduce. So I use my chronometer, I line up what I'm having, it's a done deal. The high carb, like the 20 total carbs, doesn't happen every day. I try to keep it below 10 total carbs. That's how I'm working it. It's working for me. And I'm delighted because my food addictions feel a little bit more manageable, allowable, okay, in that odd way that I'm not binging later on, that it didn't work. And it's very tricky. I don't know if any of you have tried this, but I feel it works. I'm no longer a slave to what I'm having for the day because I've worked on it, and I've worked on it with the carb part, making sure I get enough fats and I get enough protein as well. So it's just the place that I'm at. It's totally personal, just being transparent to you guys. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you had your cup of coffee. I hope you had your rebounder. I hope you had your band exercises, whatever it is that you do while I'm on, except sleeping. Because for some people, I'm a bedtime story on the West Coast. So thank you very much. It's time for me to get ready to go Instacarting. That's what I'm doing today. Have a wonderful day. Couldn't do this without you. I'll see you the next time. Bye-bye for now.